Hey everyone, my name's Tammy Sheffield and I'm an online teacher here in the state of Kansas and also in the master's program for instructional technology at Fort Hays. This is my last course I need to take before I complete my master's program. So yeah, pretty excited about that. Can't wait to finish up this course and do my practicum and get that degree. Super excited about that. If I can get my slide to change here. All right. So, as I said, I am an online teacher. I've been doing this for 4 years now. My first year online, I did teach middle school, but the last 3 years and this year have been strictly high school. And prior to online teaching, I did work in a traditional brick and mortar school for 4 years as well. And mostly I have taught American literature and British literature. Currently, I am teaching American literature, which is our 11th grade English course in the online high school. In addition to being an online teacher, I am married to my husband, Shane. We've been married for 33 years, and together we have 4 children, 2 girls, 2 boys, all grown. We're definitely empty nesters, no kids at home. Our daughters have given us 7 grandchildren. Our boys have other things to do besides have children. Anyway, we've got 7 grandchildren, 4 beautiful, adorable, intelligent girls, and 3 handsome, charming, intelligent boys, and 1 amazingly beautiful and cute great-granddaughter. We also have 1 Frank the cat. He actually belongs to our oldest son, sorry. But he spends most of his time with us, and he likes to be part of my online class. The kids in my classes love seeing Frank jump up there every day to say hi to them. And there he is sitting on my computer. He really likes sitting on my keyboard. All right, but y'all are not here to talk about me. We are here today to talk about public education at the federal, state, and local levels and who does what. So let's get right into that. All right, so first off, we're going to talk about the levels of support at both the local, state, and federal levels. So at the local level, when we talk about local level, that's the local governments, your cities and towns, and your local school boards. And though at the local level, they're determining the day-to-day operations of the schools, how the standards are going to be applied, the curriculum that's going to be used, what kind of schedule are they going to follow. You know, for example, when are we going to take spring break? What are we going to do with the coronavirus, and how is that going to change the schedule? I imagine a lot of you are dealing with that right now. I don't know about most of y'all, but the state of Kansas decided, hey, let's just cancel school for the rest of the year. So we're having to deal with that, and that's falling to a lot of the local school districts and schools to figure out how that's going to happen. I know a lot of schools are going online now, and I guess I'm kind of blessed in a way because I'm already online. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how that plays out. But schools, at the local level, that is one of the things that they are responsible for, determining how they're going to make all of it work, all the logistics of the day-to-day operations. At the state level, and usually based off of what's written into state constitutions, the state provides accountability and oversight, and about half of the school's operating costs through taxpayer dollars and other programs. The federal government, the federal level of our government, provide about 10% of the funding for operating costs of our schools, but their major role as far as support is to ensure that all students have access to an education and that no student is denied an education based on their race, ethnicity, gender, disability, or other protected status. And I would have to say that is the most important level of support that our federal government provides, and that is all of the policies and laws and regulations that make sure every student in our country has an opportunity to go to school and get an education. Come on, slide change. There we go. All right. So, whoops, did I get that right? Yeah. level of SPART. Sorry, I thought I skipped a slide there. All right, so who's in charge at each of these levels? Obviously, we got to have people making sure everything's going the way it's supposed to go. So at the local level, you usually have a school board that is in charge of getting things done, making the plans. And those school boards are made up of members who are either chosen by elections or appointed by mayors or city councils. I know in Kansas, we elect our school board members in our local elections. And speaking of the state, most states have a state Department of Education, and Kansas is no different than most states. Our Department of Education is made up of several members, all of them elected by local elections or district elections, the different local elections within the state. And currently our board secretary is Peggy Hill, and down here is the list of our board members, each member representing a different district or section of the state of Kansas. At the federal level, we have the U.S. Department of Education, and right now that is being headed up by Betsy DeVos, however you say her name. Never have figured that one out. But she is in charge of making sure everything education-wise at the federal level runs smoothly. All right, and of course, each level has its different duties and responsibilities. At the local level, again, that's your school boards and sometimes your city and town governments. They establish the curricula. They determine, based off of the standards, they determine the curriculum that's going to be used, the textbooks that are going to be used, and how they want their teachers to teach the curriculum. At the local level, they are also responsible for hiring personnel. Sometimes that's done and approved by the school board. Other times it's done by the administrators of each individual school building. But that includes all the personnel from administration down, all the way through teachers, paraprofessionals, custodians, maintenance, cafeteria workers. All of those hiring decisions are made at the local level. Local governments and school boards are also responsible for determining scheduling. So, for example, the state will determine how many days or hours the students are required to attend school. Then the local level will determine how that schedule is going to look, whether, when they go on spring break, when they take their holidays, when they're going to schedule the state assessment testing. All of that's done at the local level. Another thing local levels do is decide if they need to consolidate their schools. Maybe if there's a lack of funding, they need to close up some of the schools and they'll consolidate. Or if they have an increase in student population, they may need to build new schools. So all of that is determined at the local level. Right. At our state levels, our state governments are in charge of establishing educational standards. Of course, right now I think most states use Common Core standards, but states do have the prerogative to add to those Common Core standards any standards that they feel specifically benefit the students of that state. States also establish the framework for evaluating school performance, both the teacher and student performance, making sure that teachers are teaching what they're supposed to teach and students are learning what they're supposed to learn. And from those evaluations, they determine which schools may need more support or sometimes disciplinary intervention to ensure that all students are learning and getting the education that they have a right to. Right? The duties and responsibility at the federal level include collecting data on the schools and from the educational research that the federal government supports. And from that information that they collect, they can evaluate the performance and measure outcomes to determine how well students are performing, how well teachers are teaching, and from that information also what policies and rules, regulations might need to be put in place to ensure that students have the best education. So one of their duties and responsibilities is to suggest policy changes to state and local governments. All right, so all of this module was based off of the NELP Standard 6, Operations and Management of Schools. And as you can see here, let me put it down there. The standard reads that, God, I can't think. I'm tired, guys. Sorry. A little tired from this week. Anyway, Standard 6 is to promote the current and future success and well-being of each student and adult by applying the knowledge, skills, and commitments necessary to improve management, communication, technology, school-level governments, and operation systems, to develop and improve data-informed and equitable school resource plans, and to apply laws, policies, and regulations. And this standard has been broken down into 3 components, and each of those components, of course, applies to a different level of government and schools. All right, myself out of the way here again. All right, so component 6.1 applies to the local level, because in component 6.1 it talks about evaluating, developing, and implementing management, communication, technology, school-level governments, and operation systems that support each student's learning needs and promote the mission and vision of the school. And this, like I said, this applies to the local school because it is at the local level that school boards and school administrators and teachers determine exactly what it is each individual student needs to be a success. And they do that through the technology, the operating systems that are used to support learning. For example, our LMS, or learning management system, consists of online tools for the students where they have their lessons, their curriculum, their textbooks, the grade book. Everything that the students could want is encompassed into that learning management system, so that teachers can provide the materials that students need, and students have access to those materials through the online learning management system. Change slide. There we go. All right, component 6.2 talks about evaluate, develop, and advocate for a data-informed and equitable resourcing plan that supports school improvement and student development. And I believe that falls to the state level. And I say that because it talks about evaluation, which is a responsibility of the state, and developing and advocating for data-informed and equitable resourcing plans. So they develop the evaluation systems, and then they suggest steps for schools to improve and make learning better for all of our students. And then finally, the component 6.3, reflectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, policies, and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. I believe that applies to the federal level, because the federal level is one of their major responsibilities is putting into place laws and policies and regulations that ensure every student has access to an education, whether it be laws like the ADA Act for students with disabilities, the IDEA, the Education Act, again, helping students, making sure all students have access to what they need for learning and growing and being successful. And there's a ton of other rules that, all those letters I just don't remember. But anyway, the federal government, component 6.3 applies to the federal level because of all, they're responsible for the laws, the rights, the policies, and the regulations. All right, so what does this all mean? Coming together to support educational success and well-being of each student and adult. So from the federal to the state and local levels, educational success and the well-being of each student and adult is supported through federal and state regulations and funding, and local governments and school districts providing support for individual needs. basically, we all need to work together, whether it be the federal, the state, or the local. We all need to work together in the best interest of our students and doing what we need to do to make sure they are successful in their educational endeavors. Alrighty, thank you everyone for listening to my video, and I look forward to watching y'all's videos and working with each of y'all in this course. I'm sure that I'm going to learn quite a bit, and I look forward to seeing what everybody has to say and what everybody does. Again, thank you for listening and putting up with my video and ignoring the mess behind me. Yeah, probably bothering me more than it is y'all. But anyway, y'all take care and see you later. Bye.